Yo! What is up, everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to another Nintendo Switch and a little bit of 3DS news video. Today we've got some awesome topics for you guys. Seriously, I think this is going to be some of the best content from some of the most reliable people out there on the internet when it comes to certain things. So let's go ahead and jump right into the news. So first and foremost, guys, when I was a little OJ growing up back in the day, there was this game, and it was called Blaster Master. I thought this was one of the coolest games ever made. Now, there's been, I think, like a pseudo sequel that's been released since then. This was 1980 something. I think 1988 when this game came out. And I used to play the crap out of this game. This was one of those games. It wasn't like Mario, kind of like casual core that everyone knew. It was like the Dark Souls of when you were a child. It was like the core gamers. It was popular, but not everyone talked about this game. Blaster Master. You used to roll around in your little tank, shoot stuff up, then get out of it, and had these big sprites. It just looked amazing. It played amazing. It was hard as nails as a kid, at least. And yeah, that was one of my favorite games growing up as a kid. But Inti Creates, or Entai Creates, however you want to pronounce them, and Sunsoft is back with Blaster Master Zero for the Nintendo 3DS. I am super hyped about this game. Now, it's going to basically be a perfect follow-up to the original Blaster Master game on the Nintendo Entertainment System released back in 1988 from Sunsoft. They're using the original Blaster Master game as a basis, with Entai Creates is setting out to create a fully 8-bit experience in the way that both harkens back to the golden age of the NES and uses the current generation hardware to optimize and power up the game for the players of today. This is, of course, includes new areas, bosses, and new gameplay elements such as extra sub-weapons, improved gameplay when battling outside of your Sophia third tank, a more robust scenario, refined and expanded exploration mechanics, and more. One player coming the spring of 2017 to the Nintendo 3DS eShop. Title Blaster Master Zero. Let's go. This will be my first 3DS like exclusive eShop purchase, seriously, like in years or something like that. I don't buy 3DS eShop games digitally at all, and this will be one of them that I pick up day one. I love Blaster Master, so shout out in the comment section below if you grew up like me loving Blaster Master as a kid. Those frogs, those experimented frogs, just turning into stuff. Anyway, guys, this looks really cool, so definitely check that out, spring 2017. But let's go ahead and move on to the Nintendo Switch news all of you guys are dying to hear about. Now, we talked about this a little bit in my last video with Nvidia, as far as Takashi Mochizuki from the Wall Street Journal talking about how an extremely good tech analyst from Japan has said that the Nintendo Switch will differ in power. It'll be powerful, but it'll be different from the PS4 and Xbox One. And he actually expanded upon that shortly after he released that first tweet. Didn't get it in time for me to do my video, but kind of gathered up all the tweets and said, hey, I'm going to do it in this one. So let's go ahead and go into what he said next. Now, the following is Ace Research Institute analyst Hideki Yatsuda inferring architecture of the Nintendo Switch. Note, this is his thinking, so it's not necessarily 100% fact or 100% confirmed or anything like that. Now, we don't know what sources he has, but people are saying, as far as people close to the situation like Takashi, this guy is definitely a famous and very credible journalist in Japan. So let's go in and get right into it. Ace Yasuda, Switch will likely be using 14/16 nm FET process. GPU would be Pascal based. Power of APU bus between APU and DRAM, likely weaker than PS4. Ace Yasuda continued, Switch game card would use serial transmission, dock connected via one port, peripheral connections would be high speed. Switch would be ideal for transmitting large data to DRAM without delay, good for open field games with large map data. Important to note, tech details of Switch itself won't decide whether Switch would be successful. That's what Ace Yasuda says. And then he went on to do a comparison between Switch and PS4. From Yasuda's report, the left box says the game card, center, internal storage unknown, right, external/internal display. So that's pretty much what he had to say there, and this is very interesting. I think the most interesting thing about everything that he said is this one I'm about to read back to you guys. The Switch would be ideal for transmitting large data to DRAM without delay, good for open field games with large map data. This would be a game changer. The one thing that everyone is talking about when it comes to Nintendo Switch, as far as is it powerful enough, 4 gigabytes of RAM, all of the rumors. If this is the case, this pretty much explains why there might be lower, because of what they're going to do with the architecture, the CPU, in order to have all of these massive and big games to where on PS4, Xbox One, you have to pretty much load that whole game onto the hard drive, use up all of that space on your hard drive just because it's using a disc. But with cartridges, it's so much faster, there's going to be no delay, so therefore game sizes are going to be a lot smaller, you're not really going to have install times, and it's going to be very good for open world games like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and games like The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So maybe that's why we've seen Skyrim pretty much already on the Nintendo Switch as far as the reveal event goes, and maybe that's why Take-Two is interested in making games for this device, or pretty much has pledged support for this device. All we know of at this point is NBA 2K17, which they showed off at the reveal trailer. But will we get more? Will we get Grand Theft Auto? The rumor is saying, as far as what Ace Yasuda is saying, I think Grand Theft Auto could definitely be a possibility, and that does even open it up to Red Dead Redemption 2 if they can get this technology up and running and going good. Now, that's just me guessing. I'm not saying Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption is coming, but at the same time, you could get faster loading times, you can get way better open world games, even with the Nintendo Switch, if this turns out to be true and everything is going correctly on this. But I think this is something that Nintendo's been working on. We saw this before, where Nintendo was hiring for basically Unreal Engine 4 developers who have open world experience. I think going forward, Nintendo's really going to take this and running, and it's not just for third-party games, it's for Nintendo's own games, guys. Remember, Xenoblade Chronicles X took way too long to produce. That game was in production for way too long. I'm pretty sure they had issues getting that big old huge game running effectively and efficiently on the Wii U. They even had a kind of a haphazard way of, you can pretty much download the game digitally. You can download these install packs if you can't do it digitally. There was all sorts of stuff that they tried to do in order for that game to just basically be able to load off the disc fast enough. And even then, you still had pop-up, you still had some issues here and there. This could alleviate all that for Nintendo's own teams like Monolith Soft. Even if you look at Tokyo Mirage Sessions, they actually had to go with basically just flat pastel colors, just silhouettes of colors for people in the open world, because there's no way that they were going to make that game in the time constraints with the budget constraints and make that game as beautiful as it looks or as good as it looks for the Wii U. There's no way they're going to be able to make it to where it's all people populated in there. It would run like at 5 frames a second on the Wii U based on that architecture, just based on how that system was built, which that system necessarily was not built for open world games. I think Nintendo is having pretty much a revolution with what they're going to do going forward if this does turn out to be true. We're starting to get the first details, and I think this is a good transition point to go over to what Emily Rogers has said on Twitter, but we're getting the first details of the brand new Mario game that was shown off at the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer. So this is what Emily Rogers has to say. She kind of went on about a lot of stuff. So let's get into what she first said, and then we'll talk about Mario a little bit. So she said, the line between port and new game feels blurred with Mario Kart / Splatoon Switch. Mario Kart Switch sounds way better than Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. She also went on to say, you can't call them sequels because half of the content is old. You can't call them ports because half of the content is new. You can call them sequels if you are EA Sports, though. So I can understand what she's saying. They're a little jab at EA Sports, too. So this is what she has to say about the new Mario game. She says, I don't know if there's a hub world, but this new 3D Mario on Switch has more exploration than 3D World and Galaxy. So if this is the case, more exploration than 3D World and Galaxy, this is definitely going back to the Super Mario 64 formula. I think with the mix of probably 3D World and Galaxy, what better way to kind of appease all fans is really just make this a beautiful looking game, because after looking at that game a little bit more and kind of analyzing that reveal trailer, it does look very crisp. But if you see the way Mario is running, if you see the way the world looks, it's definitely going to be a little bit more of an expansive game. But they're kind of taking that look like Super Mario Galaxy in there. It kind of looked like a mix kind of between all of them, 3D World, Galaxy, 64, based on that just small snippet, even when he just did the triple jump and everything. This Mario game is going to be very pivotal. There is a very split fan base when it comes to Mario, I think. I think all Mario fans, 3D Mario fans, they'll play all the games, but a lot of them necessarily weren't 100% happy after 3D World, because 3D World was not a true evolution of the Mario franchise. Really what it was is that it just took Super Mario 3D Land and blew it up to the millionth degree. This Mario game does not seem to be an expansion. What this Mario game seems to be is something that's completely new and big and innovative, based on what she's saying here, Emily Rogers, that it has more exploration than 3D World and Galaxy. That means it's going back to Mario 64 style, and we haven't had a Mario 64 style Mario game since Mario 64. It's been a minute, so it would be really cool if this Mario game got back to that. So I really hope that it does turn out awesome, because I'm just excited. I'm excited for the Nintendo Switch. I'm excited to see what type of technology that Nintendo and Nvidia are bringing to the table in order to take games to another level, because I honestly think with some of these leaks that have been coming out when it comes to how the system is going to process things, the cartridges, the type of media, that's exciting to me. I don't think there's really anyone in this industry that gets people more hyped or could be more disappointed than Nintendo. They're like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. They can get you so hyped for things, it can be crushed in an instant. But if they execute, and if they execute right on there, Nintendo can provide experiences that no other company can, and people just look forward to them regardless of sales. So I'm really excited to see what the system is going to offer. I'm excited to see Mario. I'm excited to see the system Switch. And there's also even more that I want to get into, probably in my next video, about the whole dock situation that's going on with the Nintendo Switch 2. Some people are kind of seeing that, hey, it looks like there might be some add-on hardware to that dock, which Kimishima kind of already said. So we'll talk about that in another video. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this one here. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did like it. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything in gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace!